It's my guy. It's my boyfriend, Lafayette. He was born to like a super noble family that goes back maybe to the Sixth Crusade. He became an orphan at 12, and so he inherited the whole estate. He moved to Versailles and got married a little bit later and ended up living here with his young wife. They were both very young. Of course, he leaves Versailles when he's about 18 or 19 to go fight the American Revolution. Okay, so we discovered that the cemetery where Lafayette is buried is closed on Sundays, so I won't be able to go pay my respects. But I was telling Emily about why Lafayette is my favorite. I mean, he's my favorite man in all of history.
I think that's a fair statement.
I think it's fair. I convinced her too. He seemed like totally committed to his principles. So he helped in the revolution, of course. He comes back. He is part of the Estates General, and he helps in the more moderate part of the French Revolution. He writes the Declaration of the Rights of Man. He calls up his buddy, Thomas Jefferson, and they kind of write it together. And then when the revolution turns more radical, he gets kicked out because he like danced with Marie Antoinette when he grew up at Versailles, right? He kind of was fine with keeping the royals there for stability as long as they signed some sort of constitution or agreement to like a Bill of Rights. So he had to flee to Austria. He was captured by Austrian troops, spent 5 years in prison, was released personally, basically by Napoleon Bonaparte. When Napoleon came to power, was like, get this guy out of prison. And he wanted him to serve in his government. And Lafayette was like, no, because you're looking like an autocrat. So there's the Restoration where they're going to restore the monarchy. He was received by the king, but he was like, I will not serve in this government at all. He didn't even stand for election. He was like, I'm not even going to be a part of this elected body because it's a sham.
And July 1830, the 1830s revolution, do you remember?
Yes. So there was the July Revolution, which is the Les Mis Revolution. Okay. And they offered him to be the dictator. They were like, Lafayette, will you take over? And he said, how do you say no in French?
No.
And he supported Louis Philippe, and again got disappointed when he turned into an autocrat. He's like, man, what's happening here? So he lived out the rest of his life as like part of the government, constantly advocating for the rights of regular people, for the abolition of slavery. He very famously went to Mount Vernon at one point and gave a speech to a bunch of slave owners about why we should all abolish slavery. When he died, he was like given great honors in France, but he was also given like the same honors basically that George Washington got when he died. So Andrew Jackson was like, we need to treat him the exact same. So Congress was all like wearing black for a month. John Quincy Adams gave a eulogy that lasted 3 hours and ended with a quote that I can't remember, but I'll put it on the screen and I'll add it later. I can't believe I forgot my favorite part of this story, which is that when he was buried in Paris, he was buried under soil from Bunker Hill, the famous Revolutionary War battle that he gathered when he went on a grand tour of the entire United States 50 years after the Revolution in 1826. I love you, Lafayette.